Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol terrorists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 44-year-old New Jersey resident Scott Fairlamb is a professional or former professional ultimate fighter. He was accused of wrongdoing even before January 6th because Congressmember Cori Bush, who at the time, I guess when he targeted her, was just a candidate, but since then she was elected. She shared a screenshot of a tweet that Fairlamb allegedly sent to her in June of 2020. And it read, quote, "At Cori Bush, you are full of shit. Should have lit your ass up." He's also a Q conspiracy theorist, and his brother actually served as a Secret Service member who led Michelle Obama's detail when she was First Lady. On January 6th, Fairlamb was seen on both video that was submitted to the FBI as well as on body camera footage shoving and punching a police officer in the head. So Fairlamb could also be heard yelling at officers. He was saying things like, quote, "Are you an American? Act like one. You guys have no idea what the fuck you're doing." In another video submitted to the FBI, which Fairlamb actually posted on his Facebook page, he was seen holding a collapsible baton, and he said, quote, "What patriots do? We fucking disarm them and then we storm the fucking Capitol." Fairlamb apparently left that video on his Facebook page. He didn't see that as a problem, but he deleted other videos that he took of himself entering and then inside the Capitol. But obviously FBI knew about them or found out about them later. Now, in another video that was sent to the FBI by another concerned citizen, Fairlamb was seen standing on scaffolding that had been erected for Biden's upcoming inauguration. And he was heard in that video yelling, quote, "We ain't leaving either. We ain't leaving." Another concerned citizen sent the FBI a video showing Fairlamb exiting the building, the Capitol building, that is, and he was coughing when he exited. So he obviously had inhaled some sort of chemical agent while he was in the building. And then a photo surfaced of Fairlamb standing in front of a sign that read, quote, "Area closed," and he was flipping off the camera. Now, to be fair, there was also a video showing Fairlamb he was helping officers leave the area and he was offering them water. So I'm just throwing that in. Doesn't make anything else that he did right or okay at all. But Fairlamb wasn't remorseful. He wasn't remorseful for anything on January 6th. After the fact, he wrote things on social media like, quote, "It's go time and I'd go again." So until he was arrested on January 22nd, didn't really have a problem with what he had done. Right? He had had a couple weeks to think about it. Didn't really bother him. He didn't think that he had done anything wrong. But then, like I said, he was arrested. He was hit with quite a few charges, including assaulting an officer. And Fairlamb faced increased penalties after that because he was then hit with another superseding indictment. Also, his charges came with increased penalties because he was carrying a dangerous or deadly weapon at the time. And so prosecutors, like I said, they hit him with additional charges. After that, they got him with a superseding indictment that was issued on April 7th. In total, Fairlamb was charged with 12 crimes, and that included numerous felonies. So this wasn't like one of those slap on the wrist cases from the beginning. But the one that carried the longest sentence, which I've talked about before on the show, was obstructing an official proceeding. That comes with a maximum penalty of up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. And on August 6th, Fairlamb, obviously seeing that this wasn't going to go good for him, pleaded guilty to that specific felony crime, as well as the felony crime of assaulting officers with physical contact. That assault charge, because there was physical contact, carries a maximum sentence of up to 8 years in prison and then an additional $250,000 fine. And this is going to shock you guys. I know, so you might want to sit down for this part, but Fairlamb has a criminal history and a violent criminal history. I know. You didn't see that coming, but it's true. I promise you. Prosecutors listed 3 previous convictions in his plea agreement. They had him down for unlawful possession of a handgun, for which he was sentenced to 2 years probation. That was in 2010. They also had a charge of aggravated assault, which got him another 2-year probation, also in 2010. And then there was a simple assault charge in 2018, for which they gave him, you guys are just going to be furious, a $125 fine. Not on $125,000, $125. Basically, the price of a ticket to Disneyland. Enjoy. Go on your way for assaulting someone. I mean, I just can't understand why this guy thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants. It's a big mystery. I don't know. What made him so spoiled? I don't know. Anyway, it's like one of those kids from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But it seemed that maybe Fairlamb finally realized that he was in deep shit and he wasn't going to get out of this one with just a $100 fine, because all of a sudden he became contrite. And his attorney said that, quote, he did in fact feel as if he had been duped by social media prior to January 6th. So, I mean, I guess you can call that contrite, right? He didn't say, oh my God, what have I done? I'm a horrible person and I shouldn't have done those things. No, he said, I feel like I was duped. So not quite the same thing, but I'll get to some of his remorse in a minute. So he also agreed to speak with the January 6th Select Committee. And this is really interesting because the jail denied that request. He said yes, they wanted him to go. He said, yes, I'll go talk to the January 6th Select Committee investigating what happened that day. And the jail said, no, yeah, you're not going to do that. What the hell is that all about? How do they get to put the kibosh on that? I don't get it. Anyway, Fairlamb was officially sentenced yesterday. And even with his criminal violent history, his violent actions on January 6th, prosecutors were only asking for 44 months and $2,000 restitution. And his attorney was trying to get him an 11-month sentence, which is hysterical. It is just flat out LOL, considering that Paul Hodgkins got 8 months in jail or in prison just for being in the Senate chamber, not even physically assaulting anyone. So how his attorney thought, I mean, I'm sure she just thought, well, I'll just throw a Hail Mary pass, see what happens. And Fairlamb, like I said, seems to have changed his tune, or at least he's pretending to have changed his tune. In court, he told Judge Lamberth, quote, I take full responsibility for what I did. That is not Scott Fairlamb. That's not who I am. That's not who I was raised to be. I truly regret my actions that day. I have nothing but remorse. Really? You weren't raised to be that person? Because, I don't know, your previous violent convictions say otherwise. But again, to be fair, Lamb, see what I did there? No, but seriously, he may have actually had an epiphany, because while he was in jail, apparently he suffered a heart attack. And something like that has a way of shaking you awake and making you consider your life choices, especially someone like him who, worked out, owned a gym, considered himself to be physically healthy and fit, and then he has a heart attack. So hopefully it also woke him up to how much meat and dairy he's eating. But that's a topic for another day. But he may have had a literal come to Jesus moment and realized, hey, I got played by the king of the Oompa Loompas, and, I just did some horrible things as a result. And this, that was the last thing that people remembered of me. And I had a fatal heart attack, as many people do, because often the first sign of heart disease is a fatal heart attack, unfortunately. So hopefully, I believe that people can and do change given the right incentives, whether that be pain or pleasure. I am a walking example of people being able to change. So I think it is possible. Not for everyone. Not everyone is going to get it and change, but some people can. So we'll see. Anyway, in the end, the judge praised Fairlamb for taking the plea deal. He said, it was probably not going to go well for you in front of a jury with all of these videos that we have showing your actions that day. And he ended up sentencing him to only 41 months in prison, less than 4 years, which is bullshit enough. But on top of it, the judge refused to impose a fine because apparently Fairlamb now has no source of income. Like I said, Fairlamb owned a gym in New Jersey, and I guess it shut down after he was arrested. But I'm sorry, since when? When do you get a free pass because you lost your only source of income due to crimes that you committed? I don't get it. So I don't know. But, and I keep going back to that Baker story. What's his name? Baker down in Florida, who got more time than this for, they say, making threats, but really him like calling people to arms if people start attacking Capitol buildings, like state Capitol buildings. So this guy actually went the extra mile, actually went to DC and physically assaulted police officers, and he gets less time. Absolutely injustice. But here's the other thing I don't understand. This guy was a professional fighter. He is trained in mixed martial arts. Couldn't they increase penalties for that? I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but it seems to me if you assault an officer with a deadly or dangerous weapon, that increases the penalty, right? So with physical contact, which is what they got him for, what they charged him with, it's 8 years. But if there's a weapon involved, it jumps to 20 years for a dangerous or deadly weapon. As a professional fighter trained in martial arts, couldn't his fists be considered, his whole body be considered a weapon? I don't know. If you're an attorney and you know the answer to that and maybe why they didn't do it, leave a message below. Let me know. In any case, I really hope that Fairlamb has had a true awakening, not the BS Q-Loon awakening that they keep talking about. I just hope that he has turned over a new leaf, but time will tell. I'll let you guys know if I hear anything else about this case or Fairlamb himself. Let's hope he pulls it together. And this should serve as a warning for the people who committed violent acts that day, who assaulted police, and Mr. Newman, who took off like a walking testicle to Belarus to go hide out because he didn't want to actually pay for his crimes. He didn't want any consequences. So yeah, this is what he has to look forward to should he ever come back to the United States. 41 months. Hopefully they would give him more for taking off, fleeing justice. Anyway, guys, I'll let you know about all of that. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.